Hey guys, this is Isabel from Cognito Forms, and today we're going to talk about the table field. First, we'll get into the basics of how the table field works, including how to use column summaries. Then we'll look at how to reference table field data outside of a table, as well as some helpful calculations that you can use within the table itself. For this demonstration, I'm using an expense report with a table that collects the date, type, and amount of an expense. Tables function like repeating sections, so in this case, I can continue to add rows based on how many expense items I have. One thing to note about tables is that you can convert a table into a repeating section, but keep in mind that repeating sections can't be converted to tables. Now that you know the basics of how a table works, I'll delete it and walk you through creating one from scratch. To make a table, add a new field to your form and select Table from the Layout section. After you give your table a name, you can add different fields to your row. If you're creating a choice field with a long list of items, you can easily copy your list from a text editor and paste it into the first line to automatically create your list. Once you have all the columns you need, you can rearrange and resize each column as necessary, or select Justify Row to make all of your columns the same size. In your column settings, you'll notice an option called Column Summary. The column summary appears at the bottom of the column and can display both numeric and text values. For example, the count option will add up total number of items. There's also the custom option where you can create your own custom column summary. Here I can write a calculation using the count function to count the number of times that a specific expense type is selected. For fields that collect payment, like this currency field, you have a different set of column summary options. You can use sum and then add a label to easily display the running total for the entire column. You can also use average to calculate the average of the column, while min and max will display the lowest or highest number in the column. These summaries can be really helpful to use in calculations. For example, let's say we want to calculate how much to reimburse the employee. If you wanted to reimburse the employee the full amount for all of their expenses, you could add a price field and then set it to default to this column summary total. To reference summaries and calculations, all you need is the name of your table followed by the field you're referencing, and then Summary. Now you know how to reference column summaries, but you also have the ability to directly reference the column data itself outside of the table. For example, let's say you want to list out every expense type entered into the type column. To do this, I'll use a text box field and set an expression as the default value. For the expression itself, just write the name of the table followed by the select function and the name of the column in parentheses. Now my text box field will list out every choice option entered in the type column. We can even go a step further and isolate a choice option from a specific row. To do this, add the where function to your existing expression and specify the item number. The item number is a property that can apply to both table fields and repeating sections. So if I specify item number 1, my field will target the choice option from that specific item. The item number can be really useful in a lot of different scenarios. As an example, let's take a look at this order form. Here, I'm using a table field to collect product and quantity information from customers. In the price column, I'm using the sum function in the column summary to calculate a running total. Now let's say I want to add a discount based on the number of items that our customer orders. One way you can do this is to use the item number to calculate the price. Normally, the price is just the quantity selected multiplied by the product's cost. However, we can use an if-then statement to say that if the number of items exceeds 3, the customer will start receiving a discount of $5. If they don't select more than 3 items, the price will be just as listed. Now, as I add products, the price will be discounted by $5 starting on the 4th item. You can also discount items by quantity rather than the item number. In this expression, if the customer orders more than 3 of the same item, they'll receive a $5 discount on that item. And if they order less than 3, the item will be regularly priced. That's all we're going to cover in this video, but if you have any questions about table fields or writing expressions, you can find more information in our user guides, and you can always reach out to us directly by submitting a support request.